What? When we talking about these politics stuff, right? We were talking about Canada for a little bit now. I'm still waiting for some really good, juicy, concrete stuff from that to make some more videos on. But for now, they've been kind of just spinning their wheels, doing a lot of talking. I don't give a fuck about talking. I care about action. I want to see what people are doing. So, in the UK, there has been action. A new party, Restore Britain by Rupert Lew. Let's see what he has to say. I guess we're going to find out, man.
I have chosen to speak to you today from the farm.
From the
because
farm.
places like this represent what proper Britain is about.
Proper British,
Hard
man.
work, responsibility, effort,
Hard work,
duty,
responsibility,
stewardship. This is the England I know, and this is the England that I love.
True.
On a farm, you don't think in election cycles or headlines or polling.
Facts.
You think in seasons. You think in generations. In what you leave behind.
Hold on. What is this quality? What is this? What is this? What is this quality?
To those who come after you. And
fuck is this
that's
bullshit?
why, here on the farm, I am now launching Restore Britain as a national political party. I'm now going to dedicate my life to finding, organising, funding, and providing hundreds of qualified candidates to present to the British people at the next general election. This process has already started, with invitations being issued to patriots in aligned political parties, Reform, the Conservatives, the SDP, Advance, and more. In local politics, we will work in partnership with localised political parties, such as Great Yarmouth First, that have the best interests of their residents at heart, combining our forces at the next general election. The men and women standing for Restore in that election will not be politicians. I promise you that. They will not be failed ministers. They will not be tainted by failures of the past. They will be from business, from the military, from science, from medicine, from education, from industry, representing real communities up and down the country. Every single one will be from well outside the existing political establishment.
That is fucking genius. That's so good. That's so good. I do think that is a massive problem. Because like I've seen a lot of people push back against the idea of removing people in a position of power, like putting term limits on Congress people, for example. I honestly think you got fucking 10 years. I think if you get elected to Congress, unless you lose an election, right? You got 10 years. You got a whole fucking decade to make a positive change. And if you don't, well, then I guess we didn't need you anyway. Your 10 years are up. See you later. Why do we have people like fucking Nancy Pelosi who are in there for longer than a lot of people have been alive? Why the fuck have we let some old fucking crones? I mean, we have Congress people who are so old, they don't know how fucking computers work, and they're using AI images to push policy. This is why we're in the state that we're in the US. Now, I'm not saying we should throw a bunch of fucking young 25, 30-year-olds in there. It's not a good idea, right? They don't have that much life experience. Now, a few of them to bring in new ideas, sure. But obviously, there has to be some checks and balances even with that. But whoever wins is whoever wins. You know, if they won at the polls, they won at the polls. They're going to be the congressman or congresswoman, and they're going to put in their 2 cents on the country. But if they're doing a bad job, one, it's a good checks and balance for that because then they can only fuck it up for 10 years and then they're gone, done. Fully banned, never to return, can never be a congressman, a congresswoman again. Just done. and they can move on to some other part of politics. They could be a governor, they could be a mayor, or a fucking even try to run for president if they got enough backing for it, right? I do think that needs to happen, and you can argue, like, we can argue, like, how long the limit should be, but I do think that that needs to be a thing. There needs to be a limit on how long that these people could influence government, because then it keeps this crazy radical sensationalism from gripping hold of too many people, right? Because it destroyed the Democrat Party. Destroyed it. There's nothing left for the Democrats. They're fucking done. There's like 2, 3 true Democrats left. And the rest of them, radical, liberal, fucking blue hair, Karen, what the fuck is going on over there? And it ain't getting any better for the fucking Republican side either. The conservative fucking radicalism is starting to take them over as well. And you're starting to see the cracks in the foundation of what the Republicans used to stand for are starting to fucking show a lot more wear and tear now. But I will say they've held it together a lot better than the fucking Democrats have. They just completely got lost in the ideological fucking radical politics.
And every single one will understand the difficult decisions that need to be taken. Because there are no easy fixes. I'm not going to tell you comforting lies about the condition of our country. I have only ever been honest with the British people.
True.
And I will be straight with you now. What is necessary will be incredibly painful. But for the first time in a very long time, voters will have a genuine alternative which is truthful with them about the scale of what now has to be done. The first priority is to control who comes to our country, and more importantly, who stays in our country. Restore Britain will not just stop mass immigration, we will reverse it. Every single illegal migrant will be securely detained and then deported.
True.
The message will be unrelenting. If you are in this country without our permission, you will be removed. For the foreseeable future, far more people must leave Britain than arrive.
True.
If a foreign national is unable to speak English, lives in social housing, claims benefits, refuses to work, fails to integrate, commits crime, or even actively hates our way of life and wishes to do us harm, then they must leave or be made to leave.
Oh. Hey, listen. When are we gonna get one of those? Like straight up. Like maybe like Marco Rubio has a chance, right? You get a Pete Hegseth in there. They might be radical enough to do it. But this guy, damn. We need this guy right now. I will gladly do a quick swap and just have him run some shit for a while and just input his policy. And oh man, he's cooking so far. I mean, we still got about halfway left. So maybe he fucks it up from here. But right now,
Restore Britain will make our communities safe again for women and children. That I promise you. If that means millions go, then millions go.
True.
We're constantly told that the economy needs vast swathes of low-skilled migrants.
You know, that fucking pisses me off. I like how everybody, and this is gonna another tangent of me being pissed off at Pam Bondi. She brought up the fucking Dow when she was getting absolutely hogwashed by the fucking Congress people about the Epstein stuff. And she brought up the fucking Dow out of nowhere, like that's some sort of indicator of good economic growth, which, if you're in the top 1%, sure. But if you're everyone who you see every day in your local town, in your fucking city, on whatever side of that city that you live on, and you go to the most places, right? Your Walmarts, your fucking general stores, your fucking gas stations, the people that you see the most, they're not feeling the effects of this oh so good economy. Shut the fuck up. Oh, I'm so sick of it, dude. And it's the same thing with the fucking no tax on overtime, which was a big fucking scam because it was the no tax on the 0.5 of the 1.5 of the overtime. It's such a fucking nitpicky little fucking piece of shit move. Man. And people, unfortunately, people are in a situation where they're not feeling great. So they're just clinging on to whatever they can. You know, that's what hope does, right? It just tries to find a way. And there has been nonstop policy fuck up after fuck up after fuck up by Trump, by Vance, by fucking whoever else is pushing these policies out. Now, that's not saying that there hasn't been good ones, but the ones that were supposed to be good were also crazy fucking misleading.
We know that's simply not true. What we need is to get millions of healthy Brits back into work. A radical overhaul of how welfare is delivered. Protecting those in genuine need, but not funding healthy shirkers to live off the back of hard-working men and women. If you can work, you must work. It really is that simple.
Based. Oh my God, we need this here. We need this here. A little bit of background about me. I used to work for housing, Section 8 housing, used to work for them. Maintenance technician, right? And there are a good amount of people who are just unfortunate circumstances in life, right? They're a bit too old now to try to work their way up the ladder anymore. So having Section 8 to kind of take care of them is doing a very good thing, right? But there's also a lot of bad fucking people who are taking full advantage of Section 8 housing to live basically rent free, $50 a month, just not do fucking shit. And they are net negatives on society. They're out committing crimes, getting away with it, and then coming back to Section 8 housing where they're still getting away with it. They're not fucking turned in, they're not fucking given up because whatever local government they have is doing whatever they can to protect them, most likely for votes. And it's so fucking sad. It's so sad to see that there's a homeless veteran somewhere on the streets that could use a home, but instead there's a criminal in the home that he could be living in. We could throw that criminal in a fucking box and make him work in a labor camp and put that veteran up in a home for his service. You know, that criminal could be making number 2 pencils.
Restore Britain will be abundantly clear.
That's crazy.
If you consistently refuse
nuts.
work, then you will lose your benefits.
Yes.
We will punish indolence, and more importantly, we will reward success. We will provide vast economic incentives for men and women to start businesses, generate opportunities, build wealth, and create self-sufficient families.
Based.
Standing here today on the farm, I know exactly what it means to deal with energy bills, labor shortages, regulation, unproductive paperwork, planning restrictions, tax, and endless uncertainty.
This is why I think term limits need to be a thing. Because once you have been removed from the norms of society for so long, eventually you will lose sight of what it means to be in that position. Straight up, it's a rare thing that people do not change once they are out of a certain situation. It's a rare thing. Because there's some people who will use it to do better. There are some people who will use it to do much worse, right? An example of this. A perfect example of this. Look at Lil Nas X, who completely destroyed his fucking life after he got famous. Look at Shaquille O'Neal. after he absolutely excelled in his life. I mean, that motherfucker became an actual police officer, right? He has massive investments into many, many, many businesses, right? He has used his platform to become successful. Whereas like somebody like Lil Nas X use his platform to virtue signal, social politics, get into drugs like crazy, and then ended up being on a fucking, I can't remember what it was. I think it was like TMZ or something like that, recording him naked in the street, high on whatever drugs he was on, and fucking just absolutely, I don't think he was naked actually. I think he was like in his underwear or something like that. And just absolutely crashing the fuck out. Like the dichotomy there is insane.
The state has definitively become the enemy of the people. Restore Britain will...
But getting back to what I was saying, I just realized I didn't fucking finish that. This is why I think that we need to have term limits, right? Now we can have very long term, sure. You can have a fucking 20-year term, but you have to then remove that person and ban them from returning and get somebody else new who has been paying the fucking bullshit fucking tax of whatever the last administration was, the energy bills, the fucking eggs in the grocery store, right? They're the ones who have been counting their fucking dollars every week after week after week after week. That's why you need the limits. You need the limits to do the refresh. Let's not work on the fucking state of what you thought everything was 50 years ago, and let's work on what everybody is going through in the past 8 years. What decisions were made in the past 8 years, whoever was president, that were negative, positive? How do we improve that? How do we keep improving? If you want the golden age, you have to set the limits.
Burn away suffocating taxes on work and enterprise.
True.
We will slash unnecessary regulation. We will dismantle bloated quangos and the overbearing HR culture. We must crush.
What the fuck is a quango? Hey, my overseas people, let me know what the fuck that is, because I have no idea.
Parasitic Britain. We will restore long-term, stable, logical policy so that businesses can plan and invest and grow again. But Restore Britain is about much more than numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about who we are as a nation and who we are as a people. Britain is not just an economy. Britain is not just an idea. Britain is not just a passport. Britain is a nation. Britain is a people, our people. And Restore Britain will never allow that to be erased. We will celebrate our Christian heritage and the identity that built and shaped this country. Responsibility, restraint, forgiveness, duty, and fairness. In short, a high-trust society. That will mean defending our culture. That will mean resisting the relentless creep of radical Islam.
Oh, shit. All right. Let me get this point out, and then we'll move on to this. Holy fuck. This guy's cooking like crazy, man. I think it's funny. Everybody likes to use Japan as the example, the utopian example of a high trust society. What they never factor in, I said that weird. What they never take into account is the fact that Japan is highly security driven. They're very much no nonsense. I literally watched a video the other day of some fucking radical guy going crazy, like a drunk guy just going nuts. And they literally burritoed this man. Just carried him off like he was luggage. Japan has, I think it's like a 98 or 99% conviction rate. I'm gonna let you fucking just let that sink into your brain. If you break any law in Japan, unless you're fucking what was his name? Johnny Somali, apparently. Um, you're cooked, man. If you are taken to a Japanese court, you are cooked. And it is insane because it's not saying that there isn't bad parts of Japan, right? Because there's like obviously there's like the red light district that's got a bunch of weird like fucking like migrant Africans there just fucking absolutely fucking everything up just like they are everywhere else. And so there are bad parts, right? Like any other place. But the vast majority of Japan is insanely safe and insanely fucking clean because you can't fucking spit without a camera being on you. They can find you in seconds. Everything is efficient. Everything is, you will abide by our customs, our rules, and you will abide by our traditions, and you will not force your bullshit here. But the problem is in the West, here, especially in the UK and in the United States, is those customs, those traditions disappeared. The heavy reliance on faith was shattered. At some point, I would have to like kind of go back and give myself a little history lesson to like really pinpoint where this happened, but there was a shattering of the belief and faith in this country that guided the entire country into achieving so many amazing things. And then the same thing happened in the UK. I don't know if it was like this wash of guilt or this like suffering from success, maybe. I don't understand where it came from. I have not taken the time to really look back and try to analyze it. But it's clear to me that there was a shift. And in that shift, the foundation of religion was destroyed. And because of that, people were looking for guidance. They were looking for anything that they could believe in to give them a purpose and ideological way to drive themselves toward a goal in life. And it led to the creation, belief, and radicalization of many, many, many people. So the only way you can do it is if you go in by force. You grab all these fucking ideologically trapped morons, you throw them in the fucking box, and you reestablish the religious foundation that the country was built on. You push patriotism, you push all these fucking like proper prideful fucking unapologetic agendas that the US is currently doing. Now, the UK is a bit different. There's their suffering, I think, has a little bit more to do with guilt because they are the basically the foundation for many conflicts that happen throughout history. The US is a fairly new nation compared to everywhere else in the world, right? I mean, just look at fucking China. They've been around for fucking so many years. It's insane. So, while we have a sort of complicated violent history, the UK is like the center of a lot of it. They're almost the provocators, or is that the right word? Uh, the people who provoked conflict across the world. It's kind of insane. It's kind of nuts. They've touched almost every shore that you could possibly think of, and it was most likely in a way that was a net negative to the native population that lived there at the time, whether it was Europeans, whether it was natives, whether it was Arabs, whether it was Asians, whoever was there at the time. It was actually insane. The fucking Australians, even at one point, it's fucking crazy, man.
That will mean banning the burqa, outlawing Sharia law, blocking cousin marriages, and reimposing our Christian-based rule of law.
Exactly. Exactly.
A Restore Britain government would legislate to ensure that no halal or kosher slaughter on British soil. This is Britain, and we will do things our way.
True. I do think that it is about time that the people in the UK, England especially, need to really start showing some fucking pride. Really start having some backbone, some fucking pride in your goddamn country, man. You've built so many beautiful things, and everybody's got a fucking past, man. You let yourself be controlled by your past, and you are never going to move forward. And I would hate to have to become I would hate for the US to essentially have to isolate itself because it decided to follow the golden age and progress things forward, whereas like the fucking Europe decided to just throw their entire country, their continent away over some shit that happened a fucking century ago. Like, come on, man.
This political party now exists for one reason: to restore Britain.
True.
To make it a better, safer, and more prosperous place for British men and women to raise their families. It will be difficult and it will be painful, but I assure you, it is possible. I hope you will consider joining me on this journey and becoming a member of our party. It is our country. It is now our collective responsibility to act.
True.
Together, we will restore Britain. Thank you.
What a fucking W. So this is the new guy, and I'll tell you right now, if I was over there where you guys lived, I would vote for him immediately. Where do I sign? Where do I sign? Insane.